A routine family visit took an unexpected turn when Elena's father immediately sensed something was amiss. "Daughter, why did you arrive by taxi? Where's the Mercedes? What did we get you for your anniversary?" he anxiously inquired. Her husband, Maxime, interjected with proud satisfaction, "Oh, that's my mother's car now." A thick silence descended upon the room. Elena's father paused for a moment, his reaction then exceeding all expectations. "Welcome, dear listeners. It's a pleasure to greet you on my channel. I'm presenting a new and engaging story for your enjoyment. Please listen in." Elena knew this evening would be anything but ordinary. She no longer felt the carefree ease she once experienced when visiting her parents for family dinners. That was a thing of the past. She stood by the entrance of her parents' 5-story apartment building, settling the fare with the taxi driver, and saw her father's head appear at the 3rd-floor window, his face contorted with surprise as he spotted her. By the time she ascended, the door stood wide open. Her father was on the threshold wiping his hands on a kitchen towel, apparently having assisted her mother with the cooking. "What did we get you for your anniversary?" he asked, his gaze fixed on her face, a worried expression clouding his features. Elena hesitated, but then Maxime burst from behind her. Her husband had a knack for appearing at the most inconvenient moments, as if sensing when to showcase his unique brand of logic. "Oh, that's my mother's car now," he announced cheerfully, oblivious to the way Elena's father stiffened. "She's been dreaming of a nice car for so long, and Lena and I thought, why not surprise her with a gift? Right, Lena?" Elena remained silent. Maxime continued to beam, clearly expecting praise. Her father stood motionless, his gaze slowly shifting from his son-in-law to his daughter, then back again. Her mother peered out from the kitchen, wiping her hands on her apron, and froze, sensing the palpable tension. "Come in," her father finally said. "Dinner is almost ready." It all began 3 months prior, on Elena's 30th birthday. Her parents had gifted her a silver Mercedes, not brand new but in excellent condition, only 5 years old. Her father had saved diligently for it, even selling his old Niva to supplement the funds. Her mother had foregone a long-planned kitchen renovation. They wanted their daughter to drive a respectable car, not Maxime's well-worn Lada, which constantly demanded repairs. Elena had wept with joy then, embracing her parents and expressing her gratitude. Maxime had also rejoiced, patting his father-in-law on the back and proclaiming it an incredible gift, emphasizing how much they valued such thoughtfulness. For the first 2 weeks, Elena drove her new car daily, commuting to her job as a credit specialist at the bank, running errands, and even taking a trip out of town with a friend. Maxime occasionally requested the keys, citing various errands. Elena readily agreed. They were family, after all. Then the peculiarities began. Initially, Maxime started hinting that his mother, Iraida Sergeevna, found it inconvenient to take the bus. He mentioned her ailing legs and her fatigue, suggesting it would be wonderful if Elena could occasionally drive her mother-in-law to the clinic or the market. Elena obliged once, then twice, then a 3rd time. Iraida Sergeevna would settle into the passenger seat, cast a critical glance around the interior, and then begin lamenting how her neighbor Lyutka's son had bought her a car, while she, poor thing, had toiled at 2 jobs her entire life and now had to beg for rides. "I don't mind," Elena would say. "It's just that I have work, and I can't always accommodate." Of course, Iraida Sergeevna would nod. "She has her work, but the mother of your husband should be shaking on the bus." Maxime overheard these conversations and remained silent. In the evenings, he would tell Elena, "Is it really that difficult for you to drive my mother occasionally? She's not young anymore." Iraida Sergeevna was only not young in spirit. In reality, she was 58 and worked as a saleswoman in a grocery store. She bustled around there like a whirlwind, still finding time to visit friends, play cards, and argue with neighbors over parking spaces. One day, Elena returned home from work to find her car missing from its usual spot. She called Maxime. He informed her that his mother had requested a trip to the Moscow region to visit relatives, and he had lent her the keys. "Lent them?" Elena exclaimed indignantly. "Maxim, that's my car. My parents gifted it to me." "So what? We're family," he responded, surprised. "Or are you being stingy?" The word stingy became a recurring theme. Every time Elena attempted to voice an objection, Maxim accused her of greed, selfishness, and an inability to consider loved ones. Iraida Sergeevna returned late that evening, tossed the keys on the table, and remarked, "Nice little car. Smooth ride. I haven't driven one like this in ages." Elena clenched her teeth and remained silent. This became a regular occurrence. Maxim began taking the keys himself in the mornings before Elena woke up. She would leave the house to discover the car gone. She'd call her husband, who would reply that his mother needed a ride to work or the clinic or somewhere else. "I was planning to drive to work today, not take the metro," Elena would say. "Well, take the metro then," Maxim would shrug. "What's the difference? It's harder on Mom than it is on you." One day, Elena attempted to speak directly with Iraida Sergeevna. She visited her in the evening when Maxim was out. "You see," Elena began cautiously, "I'm very happy to help, but the car is mine. My parents gifted it to me. Perhaps you could give me some advance notice when you need it." Iraida Sergeevna looked at her as if Elena had suggested something utterly preposterous. "Are you truly begrudging your husband's mother?" Her voice turned cold. "I raised Maxim on my own my entire life. His father left when he was 3. I gave him everything, and now you come here and try to set rules?" "I'm not setting rules," Elena tried to protest. "You're just selfish, that's all," Iraida Sergeevna cut her off. "I knew it. Modern girls only think of themselves." Elena left, slamming the door. A furious argument erupted at home. Maxim shouted that she had insulted his mother, that he wouldn't allow such treatment, and that if Elena didn't learn to respect her elders, he would reconsider their relationship. Elena couldn't believe her ears. Over a car, not over the car, but over her attitude. They didn't speak for 3 days. Then Maxim returned, embraced her, and said he understood. He explained that his mother was simply worried and truly tired. "Let's just let her use the car for a while," he suggested. "Say for a month, maybe 2, and then we'll return everything to how it was." Elena agreed because she loved him, because she wanted to avoid further conflict, and because she believed a month or 2 wasn't permanent. 1 month turned into 2, then 2 into 3. Iraida Sergeevna began to treat the car as her own. She even had a duplicate set of keys made. One day, Elena discovered the insurance papers in the glove compartment, with a notation indicating Iraida Sergeevna as an authorized driver. Maxim explained it was for convenience. "Mom drives a lot, and what if something happens?" "Maxim, do you even realize what's happening?" Elena asked. "Oh, stop it," he waved his hand. "What difference does it make who's listed on the insurance?" Elena realized further discussion was futile. She called her parents, intending to confide in them, but found herself unable to. She pictured her father's disappointment, her mother's anxiety. They had tried so hard, wanted so much to please her. And now? To tell them their gift had been appropriated by her mother-in-law. She simply said everything was fine, that the car was wonderful and she was very pleased. But her father sensed something was amiss. He began calling more frequently, inquiring about her well-being and if she needed any assistance. Elena offered vague responses, trying to steer the conversation elsewhere. And so today, when her parents invited them for dinner, Maxim had gone to his mother's that morning. Elena waited until the last possible moment, hoping he might return to drive her, but he didn't. He sent a message. His mother asked him to accompany her to IKEA to buy a new sofa. "I'll be back late. You go to your parents. I'll join you later." Elena hailed a taxi, and as she drove, she contemplated that she could no longer live this way. The dinner was strained. Her mother had set a beautiful table, laden with her signature dishes that Elena had loved since childhood, but she had no appetite. Maxime chattered enthusiastically about his shopping trip with his mother and the excellent sofa they had chosen. "We got it on sale. Can you imagine a 40% discount?" he exclaimed. Her father remained silent, slowly and thoughtfully cutting his meat. Her mother attempted to keep the conversation flowing, but it felt forced. Finally, her father put down his fork and looked at Maxime. "Listen, son-in-law," he said calmly. "Explain this to me, as someone with a technical background. We bought a car for our daughter as a birthday present, correct?" "Well, yes," Maxime nodded, not understanding his father-in-law's drift. "And whose car is it now?" "Well, Lena's." Maxime shifted uncomfortably in his chair. "Right, Lena's. Yes. So it's a family car in a sense?" "No." Her father raised his hand. "Not a family car. We gave it to our daughter, personally, because she is our child, and we wanted her, specifically, to drive a proper car. And now you're telling me the car belongs to your mother. Am I understanding this correctly?" Maxime turned pale. "But you don't mind if Iraida Sergeevna uses it too, do you? She's not young." "I'm 58. Maxime is 32, her father continued, his voice even. "If I'm calculating correctly, that makes her younger than me? I take the bus to work every day and I don't complain, so let's dispense with this nonsense about age." "Dad, please don't," Elena said softly. But her father couldn't stop. He stood up from the table, walked to the hallway, and returned with the car documents. "Look here." He placed the papers in front of Maxime. "The owner is Elena. Not you, not your mother. Elena. Therefore, the decision about who uses the car and when is hers. And if someone else is constantly taking the car without her consent, then it's not a family matter. It's the appropriation of someone else's property." Maxime sprang to his feet. "Are you threatening me? I'm explaining to you how this looks from the outside." Her father sat back down, folding his arms across his chest. "You're a grown man, you should understand. Or does your dear mother know better how we should live in our family?" Her mother let out a soft sob. Elena sat motionless, unsure what to do. "Lena, get ready," her father said. "We're going to get your car." "Where?" Maxime exclaimed indignantly. "To your mother's. Where is the car parked?" "Under her window." "Let's go, Lena. Mom, you too." The three of them went downstairs. Her father hailed a taxi. They drove in silence. Maxime remained at home, shouting something after them, but her father didn't even glance back. Iraida Sergeevna opened the door in a bathrobe, rollers in her hair. Upon seeing Elena with her parents, she tensed. "What do you want?" she asked, displeased. "The keys to the car," her father stated. "What keys? I don't understand what you're talking about." "To the Mercedes, which you've been using for the past 3 months. "Keys? This is my son's car now," Iraida Sergeevna exclaimed. "No," her father said, pulling the documents from his pocket. "This is my daughter's car. Here are the documents. Do you see the owner? Not your son, not you, Elena. So keys on the table and quickly." Iraida Sergeevna attempted to slam the door, but her father blocked it with his foot. "Do you know what the penalty is for appropriating someone else's property?" he asked quietly. "Let's not involve the police. The keys now." Her mother-in-law darted further into the apartment and returned with the keys, throwing them at Elena's face. Elena barely managed to catch them. "Do you think Maxime will forgive you for this?" Iraida Sergeevna shrieked. "He'll leave you, you'll see." "Then let him," her father said calmly. "It means he means more to you than we do. Let's go, Lena." They went downstairs. The car was parked by the entrance, dirty, with a dent on the rear bumper. Elena got behind the wheel, started the engine. Her hands trembled. "Thank you, Dad," she whispered. "Let's go home," her father said. "To our place. You'll stay the night, calm down, and tomorrow you'll decide what to do next." Elena nodded. They drove off, she in front, her parents following in a taxi. On the way, she cried, not from sorrow, but from relief. For the first time in 3 months, she felt she could breathe. At her parents' home, she had some tea, took a shower, and lay down on her old childhood bed. Her phone buzzed incessantly with Maxim's calls, but she didn't answer. The next morning, she returned to the apartment they shared with Maxim. He wasn't there, only a note on the table. "You betrayed me and my mother. I'm leaving to be with her. Property division through the court." They had no property beyond IKEA furniture and old appliances. Elena packed her belongings and called her parents. Her father helped her move everything to their place. "You'll live with us until you find a suitable place," he said. Elena nodded. She was 30 years old and returning to her parents' home. Her marriage was in ruins, but for some reason it didn't feel like the end of the world, rather the beginning of something new. Maxim called for another week, demanding the car back and accusing her of cruelty, then disappeared. A month later, she learned from mutual acquaintances that he had moved in with his mother, and they were now living together in her one-bedroom apartment. Irina Sergeyevna gave him no leeway, making him pay all the bills, buy her new clothes, and drive her to the market in his old Lada. Elena finalized the divorce. Maxim did not appear in court, sending a lawyer who stated his client agreed to the divorce but demanded compensation for moral damages. The judge looked at him over her glasses and denied the request. 6 months later, Elena rented a small apartment near her parents, continued working, drove her Mercedes, and met with friends. Irina Sergeyevna once attempted to intercept her near her building, beginning to lament that Maxim had fallen completely off the rails, that he had abandoned his elderly mother, and that it was all Elena's fault. "Then he didn't love you that much," Elena replied, and drove away without looking back. One winter evening, she drove her father home from the metro. He sat beside her, looking out the window, and suddenly said, "You know, back then I thought about how to help you. There were 2 options, either talk to Maxim reasonably or take decisive action. I chose the latter because I realized that reasoning with people like that doesn't work." Elena smiled. "You did the right thing, Dad. I just didn't want my daughter to spend her life bending to other people's will. You grew up to live your own life, not to serve someone's mother." They stopped at a traffic light. An old Lada pulled up beside them. Maxim was inside. He saw Elena. Their eyes met. He looked tired, aged. Elena nodded at him and drove on when the light turned green.